Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So tonight we are going to be revisiting a video that I made recently where we were looking at Sir Paul McCartney's vocal, and that was take 19 of the Long and Winding Road. And one version from the Let It Be Naked album had been pitch corrected, and that was pitch corrected back in 2003. And I compared that with the original release, which of course was a different vocal, but you could see the difference between a pitch corrected vocal and a natural vocal. Anyway, after that video, I received a lot of emails from you guys watching the channel, but also Beatles fans who pointed me in the direction of the different versions that we had of The Long and Winding Road. We had the Glyn Johns version where there's reverb added to the vocal, and Phil Spector's original, of course, but then the stripped back version without Phil Spector's production on there. So this has all led me down this path where we now have the original Take 19 vocal that is unedited, and we can compare that with its pitch corrected counterpart. The reason that this is interesting is because there was a comment underneath my previous video where somebody was stating that they were a producer and there's no way that you can say that pitch correction or auto-tune has been used on a vocal unless you've got access to the original project and that you can see it in there. And this is going to be great because I can show you guys on screen how you absolutely can tell when something is pitch corrected or auto-tuned, even if you don't have the original vocal to compare it with, because of the way that it looks when you're looking at pitch lines on screen and the way that calibrated vocals look so different to the natural voice. Even with great singers with great pitch accuracy, their voice will still look natural on screen and when the pitch is plotted on a 440. So we will jump into the Take 19 actual audio. So this is totally unedited, Sir Paul McCartney's natural voice. There is a little bit of talking just before the vocal comes in, so that's what this is, but we aren't too concerned with that. Let's have a listen.
The long and winding road.
So now I'm going to ask a serious question here. We're going to now flip to the pitch corrected version, and I want you to look at the screen and see if you can see any changes, any differences. This is just really with reference to that comment that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. So have a look on the screen because there's no way that you can tell if something's pitch corrected or auto-tuned. See if you can spot any differences between these lines. So now this is the pitch corrected version of the same voice. This is really what I'm trying to make as clear as possible to anybody watching this video. This is the same vocal. I mean, maybe people can't see a difference. I'll flip between the two, and even without looking at the bottom of the screen, hopefully you can see that the pitch corrected version is now seeming calibrated to these lines, i.e. they are straighter and they're now conforming to these horizontal lines, which is A440. Now when I bring back Sir Paul McCartney's natural voice, something that I said in that first video, and I didn't have access to this vocal at that point, I said in the other take that was a totally different take of this particular song, Sir Paul McCartney's voice had a lot of waves to it because that's just what happens in his voice, and you can see it here. When we go to the pitch corrected version, look at the lack of variation we now get in the voice because this has been manipulated. This doesn't happen naturally. What I'm going to do as well, the links are going to be in the description below if anybody wants to cross-reference this, but to show that it is exactly the same vocal.
And winding road.
That was both of the vocals playing back at the same time. You can hear that they sound identical. The timing is absolutely the same. there seems to be no difference between those two because they're playing back at the same time. But this is the pitch corrected version.
Winding road.
And now the unedited version.
Road.
So this is why, I mean, it sounds so similar. I mean, obviously the pitch corrected version is going to sound a bit weird because of the processing, but also just conforming it to A440. But when we're looking at Sir Paul's accuracy, I mean, here, I mean, he is so accurate, but they've still chosen to pitch correct it, so it is crazy. Anyway, I'm going to just move it forward, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're now looking at the next part of the verse. I get this centralized, and I'm going to now flip between the two and see if you can spot any differences. So this is natural, this is pitch corrected. This is natural, this is pitch corrected. And considering it's exactly the same audio file that's been edited, look at the amount of difference that we've got. Subtle up here, just moving it down to the C4. And actually, they've moved this up ever so slightly to the C4. Absolutely crazy. You're not going to hear that amount of difference, you know, moving it up, what, 5 cents, 10 cents. So look at the bottom here, a lot more dramatic with that pitch correction, and the way that this is, rather than going a flat and then coming sharp, it's now a little bit, I mean, you could say that's a little bit, oh, it's just maintained, it's a little bit sharp here, and then it's now centralized, and we do get a little bit of this sharpness coming in, but hopefully you can start to see how these tiny details make all the difference. Like when you're looking at something and it's now suddenly popped up to the line, to the G3, it's just something that human vocal cords don't do. And let me just see here as well. So here edited, here unedited, and again here the freedom of the vocal to just go a little bit sharp, but then just absolutely stuck on that line. And you can see, I mean, I can do this, I don't want this video to go on for years, but I can be doing this throughout the whole song so that we can see pitch corrected, natural vocal. I mean, and look at the difference between these. I think that, I don't know, you've got to have some kind of disability in order to not see these as two different things, to say, oh, well, there's no way that you can tell the difference between these two. It is night and day, and this goes for when you've spent a long time looking at pitch graphs and pitch lines, that you just start to see what pitch correction looks like, and you lose all of these natural little variations in the voice that are so subtle. As soon as they're gone, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. It's like, well, you know, here a little bit sharp, in between notes, going up, here a little bit up, below, and then up. But then it's all flattened out, flattened out, flattened out, flattened out. So, yeah, really clear. But it's great as well because I can show you guys now on screen that it is absolutely conclusive when you're looking at this. If you're not looking at the bottom of the screen, I would know that this is pitch corrected because of the way the lines look. And I know absolutely that when we now flip to the natural voice, it is not going to look like this. And look at the ridiculous variation that we get in pitch of a natural voice. This is kind of going all over the place compared to the conformity of A440 standard pitch equal temperament. So yeah, like I said, I could be going through the whole song here, just flipping from one to the next, and you'll always see this kind of dramatic difference. Yeah, but it's also great, and thank you guys for getting in touch. And Andrew, who emailed me about this vocal that was released, and I think has flown under the radar a little bit, that it is out there in its natural form. And I did say in my response to Andrew's email that I couldn't understand the need to then release another version of it that is then pitch corrected, because it's just the same thing, the stripped back version, but with a tuned vocal. And I don't really understand that unless they're going for a more modern sound. But yeah, I don't feel comfortable tuning voices, and great voices, especially when they are so significant to the whole music industry. When we're talking about the Beatles and their sound and what they did, what they achieved. And now to change that, I mean, I suppose from a financial perspective, you can understand it. To try and release something new that isn't actually new, all they've done is just move the vocal to A440, which just makes it sound weird. Anyway, as I said, the links to the vocals and the videos that I've used are going to be in the description below. So if you guys want to hear Sir Paul McCartney's original vocal with the stripped back accompaniment, then you now can do. And I think it did fly under the radar when it was released. But yeah, thank you for letting me know about all the different versions and the different mixes of this particular song, and Andrew for giving me all the links to all the different versions, and especially to this, so that we can grab this original vocal in its raw form. But anyway, thank you guys for all of the messages, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!